Good.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. This is Adam Beebe. I am the senior broker here at Latona's. I'm joined by Lars uh, Quinnell. Is that pronounced right?
That's right. Yeah, that's
Quinnell.
right. Hello.
Lars Quinnell. Lars is the owner, operator, seller of N8, and I'm gonna let you pronounce that. How do you pronounce that?
N8Waechter.info.
Okay. I appreciate it. But Lars is bilingual. Well, at least bilingual, English and German, and maybe some others. But Lars, again, thank you for joining us. And we're going to start here. A little housekeeping for everyone. If you're listening live, Lars and I are going to be the only ones speaking. If you haven't already dialed into the audio bridge, please do so. You can use the integrated audio, or you can dial in with the phone number provided. You're going to be on mute. If you'd like to submit questions as you're reading, you can use the chat functionality of the GoToMeeting, and I will ask them verbatim. We may be in a section where I know that that topic's coming up soon, so I'm going to hold the question until we're talking about that. If the question comes up, but we've already covered the topic, we're going to ask those questions at the end, and the reason being is this recording is going to be on Latona's within 24 hours, and a lot of people want to refer to it and want the questions addressed as a group, uh, uh, per the theme. So, um, without further ado, what we have here is something that is accessible to anyone, meaning anyone who signs up for Latona's account, free Latona's account. You have access to the trailing 12 months of revenue. The COGS are zero. There's nothing being sold, so we put contact us, but that means zero. Expenses, which are minimal, and then the trailing 12 months of profit. This open house, this presentation was made a couple days ago. Since then, the listing's been updated with April data, so April was a good month. So the numbers are going to be even more impressive. Um, but if you click on the hyperlink, if you click on the blue numbers for revenue, expenses, um, uniques, and page views, you can't see them really well now, but on latonas.com, if you click on those blue numbers, it'll expand into a 12-month, trailing 12-month graph. It'll show you trends on the site. Now, Lars, there's going to be two sections, this being one of them, where I'm putting myself on mute and you're going to be doing all the talking. And if any questions come up, I'll ask at the end. That's the history of the site, as well as the admin section. And the admin section are the screenshots that you sent over to Victoria that I'm going to let you discuss, but we'll get there in a little bit. Now, as far as the history goes, I'll start it off. And just some of these, when I'm asking you some questions, I know the answer, but they may be coming up or they may help start the conversation. So here, let's have you start. When did you start it? Was it just you who started it? In what relation were you with the company possibly that you were associated with in starting the site? And then, when you broke away. So give us a little bit of a minute, 2 minute version, if you will, of the history of the site.
Well, basically, it all started when I lost my job in 2014, and I had to figure out how to make some money to pay my living expenses. So I was in contact at that time with a friend, and he's been running a blog for, I don't know, maybe 10 years already. And so we discussed all the whole blogging thing, and he suggested me to start my own thing, and that's what I did in August 2014. And well, basically, what I do, since I'm bilingual, I do browse the US and English-speaking sites, alternative media, and see if I find anything interesting, and then I just grab it, translate it, and put it out there in German for the German-speaking audience. So that's basically what I'm doing.
That's excellent. That's exactly the amount of information that was requested and wanted. The Wayback Machine Archive.org. Anyone can go there. You can see when impressions started showing up on the site. What we have here is there is not Google Analytics on the site. There is the WordPress stat, WP stat, which is showing, and that's in German. Is that page views, Monat? Is that?
Yeah, that's right. That's page views.
Yeah, because I would think just it's the third, and it's also the number there. So these are page views per the WordPress admin, the stat counter. Spikes would be attributable to, I guess, breaking news stories or hot news stories. Would that be right?
Well, talking about January 2015, actually that spike comes from an article I wrote about Facebook when they had released their new terms and conditions. I decided to step away from Facebook because I didn't like at all what they offered there. So I wrote an article about that, and that one went pretty viral. So that's where that spike comes from.
Okay. Anything that you've, again, some of these questions I know, have you bought traffic before? Have you done anything like that?
Not at all, no. I never spent any money on buying traffic or something. I just chose to send my new published posts to certain known websites, and they just linked them. That's where my traffic came from, and basically comes from even today.
Okay. Let's advance here. As one would think, that's Germany and Switzerland. Is that? I don't know what that other flag is. Is that Belgium?
It's Austria.
Austria.
It's Austria. Okay. Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And yeah.
Very good. So obviously, this is a German blog, alternative news, with a fair. I mean, actually, if we were to look at this with the amount of traffic it's coming from non-primary German-speaking countries, there's some things here that a new owner could expand upon. Before I forget, Lars, again, I know the answers to some of these. Do you write the full content of the site?
Oh yes. I might have since 2014, I might have had maybe 10 reblogs or something.
Okay.
But the vast majority of what I put out there is my own content. Yeah.
Okay. And a question is, how willing, I guess, in defining it, if you will, by length of time after the sale and amount of hours within that length of time. There's a question: how willing would you be to add content after the sale, and/or actually specifically and train a new person? I mean, is there some openness to that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I would put my priority on training a new person, definitely, because I do have reasons to sell the blog, and well, I'd be happy to do training. I've done that before. I've trained a couple of bloggers, and they actually do pretty well now. And so yeah, that's no issue. The training would require, I don't know, maybe a maximum of 4 days. That's all it takes.
Okay. All right. And as well as introducing as far as the pepper spray advertiser, as far as any other ad people, any contacts to keep the revenue flowing, you would be willing to make those.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Backlinking. Have you ever done any link exchanges, or is this naturally occurring?
There were a couple of people who asked me about link exchanges, and I did respond to them, but nothing really ever came from that. So I'm afraid no, there is no link exchanges in a let's say SEO way of things.
Mm-hmm. That's a good thing, actually, since since people are wanting to be associated with the site. Okay. I want to talk about this slide. I don't recognize any of these, but that doesn't mean anything. Now, when you're seeing these 5 links here, which one, or maybe a few of them, which ones do you think are the most relevant as it relates to what a German speaker may recognize?
Certainly number 3, the Kopfverlag. They have a pretty interesting site as well, and they throw out content each and every day, like 4 or 5 posts, and that's actually very high quality content as well.
Okay. This is available to anyone. This is SEMrush. This is if someone were to buy the traffic that presently comes to the site and how much they would pay. For some reason, this is selected in US. It would be much more impressive if it was German feed. So I don't really see that as being very relevant. My eyesight is decent, but it's not as good so as to read the keywords here. We've already discussed you haven't bought any keywords, but what organically are you ranking for keyword wise?
I don't
may not even
understand.
know that. It doesn't sound like you do much of that, but I mean, you can hopefully see the screen. It's hard to put that in at the right size, but what do you know of any keywords you organically rank for?
Not really. No. I never thought about that.
Okay. Can you read any of these? I'm unable
No.
to, and I wouldn't
Way too
recognize them
small.
probably because they're German. But do you see any of those?
Let me see. Hold on. Since I have your presentation here as a PDF file, there's that chance there. In World News. All right. Yeah. World News. Bill Fleckenstein, Georgia Guidestones, Andrew McGuire, Gold. What else does it say down here? Main organic competitors, Independent. Was it Independent CO UK, Mirror CO UK, Wikipedia, 24-hour gold before it's news. Well, that's what it says here.
Okay. All right. And
Actually, thinking. Sorry, Adam.
No, you'll hear some hesitation here. I'm actually typing and interacting with someone here, so feel free to continue talking. Where you want me to go back here?
No, actually, what I was about to say is that it doesn't really surprise me so much that Keyword News is one of the top keywords here, since there's a lot of content coming from there. It's like one of my favorite sources, so to speak.
Okay. You already mentioned one of the backlinks that a German person would know. Any other backlinks that you can think of that are, I know it's a news site, and actually in our listing we mentioned 3 German sites, which you said, as far as an affiliate relationship with, and then some smaller ones. But let's take the question this way that was just asked. What sort of relationship, be it as far as what you would attribute to more of a traffic relationship, as far as that where you're getting the benefit and or the revenue benefit, what are some sites that you are connected with?
Well, there is a website called hartgeld.com, which is an Austrian website run by an Austrian guy, and well, more or less everything I put out there is of interest to them. So there's some how do you say that? Well, basically they put everything out there as well, so I almost always get backlink from there.
Okay, it's helpful. Thank you. The
There's a few others, but HeartGo is certainly the strongest.
Here's some more traffic, and it was pulled the 28th by you and sent. And we're looking at there was the page views first, and I don't know what is this the uniques or sessions, or what is this?
These are page views, and those are the days.
Oh, I'm sorry. These are individual days. The last slide was actually made monthly. So yeah, that would make sense. I didn't see that on the bottom here. Okay, these are still page views. Okay, and we already mentioned one of the spikes and why that was. Just from a theme standpoint, be it economic or more social or international, what type of news as a genre, what type of news tends to drive traffic to the site, more interest?
It's it's financial news and economic news and whatever happens around the world, like geopolitics and stuff like that.
Here's one. Do you have a mechanism where a forum exists where you can interact with readers and possibly they're kind of directing as far as this is the type of content we want more of it, which may very well be more financial stuff, more social. Do you have anything where you're directly interacting with your readers?
Not really. I mean, there's a comment section certainly, but it's not like there's so much commentary going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Thank you. And let me know if talking to them.
Adam, if you look at that current slide,
mm-hmm.
It says over the entire time there were 3,819 comments. So that's not exactly a lot for I don't know,
okay.
20 months or something.
And that's over March 31 through April. Oh, so this is is this?
No, that's actually since I started running that blog.
Oh, okay.
The entire time.
Okay. All right. This and anyone joining late will realize that this slide was done and was based off Latona's before Lars had updated the site with April. Obviously it's just May 3rd, but we got that. And if you go to Latona's right now, you'll see April data for uniques, page views, revenue, and expenses. They're all in Latona's, but right here gives us a spike, as mentioned, around the December, January timeframe. Is this? Would you say this is comparable to the preceding 12 months, meaning 24 to 13 months ago? As far as this design, or is there really no rhyme or reason? It's dependent upon the news cycle.
The interesting thing is that there is no real pattern on that. I mean, sometimes I just happen to be lucky with some sort of translation, and I don't know. I just hit it with an article, and then there are months when it's rather calm. So there is no real pattern on that.
All right, and that addresses that. The views, one would think, this is pretty close, very close as it relates to actual trends. Anything you want to talk as it relates to the uniques page view relationship?
As far as I can say, it's always been pretty stable. The views in relation to the uniques. I recall it right, there was a number somewhere between 2 and 3 views per page, per unique or something like that.
Okay. So really, then that answers it. Very stable from what you can ascertain. Well, I can see that's probably at the comment section right there, since you identified 3819 as being the comments, and I recognize that word, and it looks like it. But this is the aforementioned section, Lars, where I'm going to put myself on an extended mute, and I'm going to start you off here. But what we would want you to do is just in the screen you're seeing, discuss briefly what we're looking at. Just say, well, this is you sitting down, and this is where this screen, this shot is where you do X, Y, and Z. Just explain it. I think also because it's in German as well, it would be helpful. I will start by, again, knowing some of these answers. This is a question: what's the site built on? Who built it? Who programmed it? And then, if you would, start talking about this slide. When you're done speaking about the slide, simply say next. And when I hear you say next, I'm going to advance it. So
Okay.
I'll put myself on mute. I'll be interacting with people offline here, but I'm listening for when you say next. I'll advance the slide. So take it away.
Good. Thanks. Yeah, let me answer the question first that you put up just before. That website runs on WordPress, on WordPress.org, and uses a theme called Good News, which was programmed by a company called Momizap. And it actually offers a lot of features. The most of those features I don't even use because I simply don't need them. And I can happily teach people how to use that stuff, though, because I obviously looked into it to figure out if I can use it or if I need it or something. So yeah, and as to setting up the website, I did that actually. I did all the setup. So the optical appearance of that blog was completely made by myself. And yeah, I would think that should answer that question. So talking about this slide, we're in the comment section here. As you might have realized already, there are, let's see, yeah, all 3 of those comments are backlinks, which I usually just give a green light for, so the search engines realize that there is a backlink, because I already noticed that this kind of stuff is pretty good for search engines, especially Google. They pretty much love that. There's not much more to say to this slide, to be honest. Here and there are discussions going on about certain topics, and all you need to do really is to keep an eye on it, so people don't get nasty or something. But as I said before, there's not so much commentary going on in the comment section on my blog. Adam, next, please. Yeah, that's a view on the dashboard. Just gives you an overview of the amount of posts, the amount of comments, the pages that are set up for this blog. On the right-hand side, you can see the website stats, which are shown, on the daily base, and you can see the top posts, from recent days, and as to activity on the bottom left, just basically shows what happened during the last couple of days on the blog. That's it. Next, Adam. Adam, you hear me? Next, please. Thanks.
I do hear you, and
Yeah,
I apologize. We were talking
yeah, no, no,
about
no.
this one, and then you said next.
Yeah.
Have you addressed this?
Uh, there's not much to say to this. This is actually the the easiest part of all. It's where the how do you call that? The media is stored, and these are just thumbnails. So you can just pick images. It's where I upload images that I find on the web and use them for my content. That's it. Next, Adam. Yeah, this slide shows a post inside the WordPress structure. I would think that someone who has worked with WordPress before, to those people, this will look very familiar. It's basically the same thing as it is on WordPress.com, where you can run your free blogs. You have a headline, you have a link, you have the content. It says from Hard Asset Alliance, and then that's where the blog post starts. And you have certain options to just make the post look nice, as to the what's the name, headlines and stuff like that, and the size of the hanging here. See, that's the thing, being bilingual. I need to switch from one language to the other right now. Oh, I apologize for that. So yeah, thanks. This is an overview of the latest blog posts. So that's where the blog posts are simply listed up. It shows the title of the post. It shows the author and the categories. As you can see, the first two, they don't have any comments yet, but the third one already has 3 comments, which was from a day before, as far as I can say. Yeah. And yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, this is an overview. I was asked to send a screenshot of the plugins that are on that website, that I used on that website. I had downloaded a bunch of plugins, but most of the stuff that I downloaded, I deleted at some point because it didn't make any sense anymore. So this is very basic stuff. I try to keep it as small as possible. So there's Estimate, which is necessary for the spam on comments. It's a very good tool, and it's for free unless you are willing to pay, but they offer it for free as well. And so when I started, I got my license for free back then. BB Press, hardly ever use it. Category Order, hardly ever use that. Contact Form, well, there's a contact form on the website. There's a page with that contact form on it, and that's the only place I really needed this. Facebook video embed, I needed that at some point to embed a video from Facebook. Was a quite useful tool, but I think I only used it once or maybe twice. Next, Adam. Local Translate. Well, yeah, I downloaded that one because the theme itself is in English, and I used the Local Translate plugin to have some some words translated so they show up at the front end in German. Revolution Slider, never really used it. That one actually came with the theme, if I recall it right. Simple copy post, that's actually a very useful tool. Just creates a button, it says copy post, and then you have a copy of the post, and if you have some content that like comes in on a regular base, like certain videos and stuff that come once a month or something, it's actually very simple to just copy your post, give it a new name, save it and publish it. It's a matter of minutes, really. WP Bakery Visual Composer, don't use that. That's the reason why it's deactivated. Öffentliche Vorschau, that's a preview tool, which is useful at times. When you plan a post for, let's say, the next day or the day after, you can use this preview tool to send a link and to somebody else to maybe take a peek or something, or ask if somebody else would like to on whatever you write. It's a useful thing. Not sure if there's anything else. Adam, next please. There goes the revenue.
All right, thank you for that.
It's your call, right?
And Lars, I'm sorry. Right, you addressed everything either proactively or as it came up, you addressed it because it kind of blended into the next slide. So we're all set with that. It's pretty understandable what's going on with that. You know, the revenue, is it, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, the majority of the revenue comes in through, is it the pepper spray ad?
No, it's not one single ad. It's actually related to a publisher, a German book publisher. That's what they initially started their business with, and then they expanded their business on different products like health products and stuff like pepper spray and survival stuff as well. Well, since there's always content related to the coming crisis and everything's going to break down and things like that, and to be honest with you, my audience loves that stuff, obviously, because they really pick up on the ads that I add underneath every single blog post, and those security items they get sold very much, especially after what happened in Cologne. Maybe you've heard on New Year's Eve, where there were a bunch of women attacked by some, I don't know, migrants or something, and that caused some panic in this country. And well, looking at the numbers especially in January and February, that's related to this kind of buying pattern.
Okay. Expenses, I mean, we're talking at a magnitude between $25 and $120 here. So it's hosting, which is the 26 and some change. What's this spike attributable to?
Yeah, there's, once a year there's I think, if I recall it right now it's 80 euros, which is somewhere close to $100, for an imprint service. Because when I started the blog, I was being warned that I should be careful using certain images and stuff like that, because well, people have been dragged to court for minor reasons, and that's why I decided to use this imprint service, which is located in Uruguay, and I paid like 80 euros a year, just in case something pops up. So this is basically an insurance. nothing more, nothing less.
Okay. 3 slides here, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do this the same way. It's going to be you talking about, firstly, obviously you speak German and English, so that's a skill, that's part of your skill set. So as to how many hours a day, an hour of your time is worth more than an hour of my time in a lot of ways. The question is, or it starts by explaining what you brought into the site when you started the site, what was your skill set, and then what you've learned as you've owned the site. And also just tell us the day-to-day operations of the site. Some of this you've covered already. What's required. When you're done speaking about this, we're going to talk about site growth and future expectations. This is going to be, if you were to keep the site, what would you do with it to earn more and to grow it? And then we'll wrap it up with, please tell us why you're selling, as well as the last round of questions. So if you would, just kind of give us a 30-second review of your skill set and how you operate the site day to day.
Right. When I started thinking about starting this blog, I was basically a typical user, an internet user, and from that standpoint, I just tried to imagine what would be like a good deal for an audience. Then I started looking for a theme that I liked, and I found one, the good news theme. And then I really had to start watching YouTube tutorials en masse. Like I can't even recall how many of those tutorials I watched and how much I learned. I basically taught myself by those tutorials how to use this WordPress blogging system, which even if you don't have a very funded skill set when it comes to working on the computer, I would think that I can teach almost anyone how to do it. Just recently, I went to see an old lady. Well, old lady. She's going to turn 70 years this summer, and she decided she wanted to be a blogger. And so I went over, and it took me 3 days to show her how to do it, including how to make the work that she does pay. So I would think that it's rather easy to learn how to do it if you have somebody who's able to teach it properly, to focus on step-by-step teaching. So as to the question, what is required? It's not a lot. I mean, yeah, this particular site has a focus on translations. So of course, being bilingual would be very helpful. But when it comes to the work, to the effort I put in there on a daily basis, people will probably find it hard to believe, but there are days when I'm done after like 2 hours, and then I got 2 translations, just shoot them out there, and that's it for the day. Of course, there are days when there's like when the English-speaking internet community is let's say quiet, and it takes more time to do research to find something that's worth being translated. But that's basically on the research side. It's not like the translation thing that requires so much time. I believe the highest I've ever worked on that blog was 6 hours. On average, I guess somewhere between 3 and 4 hours a day, and that's it. Site growth. Well, yeah, I think since I decided to walk away from Facebook, I probably missed a big chance to grow the site even more. But at the time, as I mentioned earlier, I was very unhappy with the new terms and conditions. So, well, yeah, I made that decision. But if a new owner would be different-minded there and go on Facebook, especially on Facebook, since it's probably the strongest platform when it comes to social media, this site can grow a lot. I've seen it with colleagues. Another woman I trained, she's like in I don't know how many groups on Facebook, and she generates her traffic from there. And right now she has an even higher revenue than I have, although the site's only been active since I think September or something. So as to future expectations, that certainly depends on how much effort the new owner wants to put in it. I mean, if you just keep doing what I've been doing, do the research, see if there's anything out there that's worth translating, and then do the translations, maybe 2 or 3 a day, and that's it. Well, the website will certainly not be less successful. Let's put it that way. But I believe it's probably possible certainly possible to grow traffic significantly, since what I know and what I've been watching over the past months is the more posts I put out there, the more traffic obviously there is. So let me give you some figures. If I put out one blog post, let's say one, I will certainly have around somewhere between 10 and 15,000 views a day. If I put out, let's say, 4 or 5 posts, that number can easily go up to 25 to 30 a day. So obviously with higher traffic there comes higher sales. So well, I would think the potential is still pretty good. I mean, whoever takes over the site can easily grow it. That's my solemn belief. Yeah, that's actually the easiest part. As life goes on, my life has changed a lot within the last 1.5 years. I've learned a lot. I grew, and well, basically, it's just time for me to move on. That's all there is to say.
Sorry, I had myself on mute. I'm just addressing some things here. Okay, you did say you're open to provide the transition support, and oh, okay, that addresses that. What I'm going to do right now, everybody listening live, should you have any other questions, please ask them now. We're going to be wrapping up the open house here in a moment. Lars, first, you did a great job. Thank you. It was very clear in understanding how the site operates and why it operates as it does. But people listening live, if you would have any other questions, please ask them now. My name's Adam. That's my phone number. That's my email. That's my Skype. I do work a bit, so you can reach me through one of those 3 methods. I haven't said this before, but it's probably obvious. Once you go to the listing, you can request a prospectus. I'll be sent that request. I'll make sure you have a signed NDA in-house. If not, I'll send it via EchoSign. It's digitally signable. And that's it. So, Lars, again, thank you. I appreciate your time and effort here.
You're welcome.
Everyone listening, a recording of this is going to be up on Latona's here, possibly by the end of the day, but definitely within 24 hours. So, Lars, take care. I'll be in touch as anything develops, and talk to you soon.
Well, let me thank you for the opportunity to speak and present and talk. It was a great pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Take care.